I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Why? Say it!
Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely
nothing. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Good answer. Good answer.
Hello, welcome to the War Room from Steelers Sanctuary with myself, Bob Quinn, and Trent King. We're going to break down the Dolphins game, look at the film, take a look at one of Omar Khan's best free agent signings. I hope our colleague Dave is tuning in for this because we're going to tell him just how good Omar is doing. Trent, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Bob?
I'm wonderful. It's weird not having a Sunday game. I hate Thursday night games, and I'm starting to hate Monday night games.
Yeah, it is very strange, and I know we debated a little bit about whether or not to do this today or not, but it seems like the time slot fits. So
yeah, exactly. And you know, this is our probably only Monday night appearance. So I guess we could always get flexed in, but I doubt they would flex up. Maybe the Ravens game, but I would think that would be the Sunday night game if that became meaningful down the stretch, don't you?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think they would keep that as a Sunday night game. The Ravens just got flexed too. They just got flexed. What is it? Next week? Not next week. The week after they got flexed out to Monday night.
Yeah. So look, it's interesting. I some injury news right off the top. Big news. Darnell Washington has cleared concussion protocol. I think he's a huge key to this game.
Yeah, he's going to be a big piece, especially weather dependent. Like, you're going to need him. He's been so involved in the offense, both as a blocker and starting to come along as a receiver. So having him back is huge. I mean, you saw what happened to the offense when he went out with that concussion. They kind of like didn't really know what to do without him being in that pivotal blocking piece. So yeah, it's huge to have him back for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like more good news from the injury front. Looks like Derek Harmon and Y.A. Black are both going to play.
And Keanu Benton, who was kind of in that limited capacity too. So that's definitely huge. When you're talking about the Miami Dolphins, I think everybody thinks of the flash of the speed and the passing game, but they've really become a run-first team. So A-Chain, he's a big component of that, and you're going to need your guys up front to help slow him down.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump right in and talk about one of the shining spots for the Steelers this year. That's for you, Dave.
Yeah, I love it. So obviously we're going to be talking about Brandon Echols here. So first thing I have before we start the film, he is the best slot corner that we have had since Mike Hilton was here, and I think he's a better slot corner than Mike Hilton was. As much as we all loved Hilton as a fan base, like, he is playing some incredible football right now. So he had to be the guy to get highlighted this week. So love what he's able to do. He's kind of the missing piece that we've been waiting for. So we're going back to the Ravens game last week. They're in a 12 personnel. Echols is ISO'd in the slot against Zay Flowers one-on-one. It ends up being a fade route to the back pylon. So I thought right here, he does a great job of staying inside. He flips his hips at the right time. You can see him just running on the hip, and he's keying on the body language of Zay Flowers. If anybody's ever played corner or listened to anybody who talks about somebody playing corner, he does exactly what you're supposed to. He knows when the ball should be coming there. He's turning the head, getting his head around, and gets his hand up at the right moment to break this up. Now, Zay Flowers isn't the biggest guy in the world, but he is a very shifty, very fast, and obviously the top threat in at least outside for Baltimore in the passing game. So I know this is more of the front look, but this is a clean pocket. And Lamar does try to fade this ball behind, but you can see Echols' arm at the last second. He gets that back just enough to get a piece, and that's because he doesn't over pursue this play. He doesn't get behind the play. Really gave Lamar nowhere to go with this football in this one. So Lamar tried to put it in the one spot that it could be in, and Echols was just in perfect position because if he gets a little too far upfield on this is a touchdown. It's a back shoulder touchdown. So on the second play, this is a third and long situation. The Steelers called a blitz off the weak side, and this is why I say he is a guy. Well, let's be honest, Falele had a beyond bad game in this one. He is there to pick up one-on-one, but you can just kind of see how Eccles kind of dips through that, and it did help that on the front side here, you'll see Keanu Benton. Watch Keanu Benton right in the middle of the screen right there. He's going to win pretty early, and the running back has to go help on him. And Eccles just kind of gets up underneath of the bigger offensive lineman and just works through that. TJ got out so wide that it also opened up a little bit of a space for him to work off of this. And, of course, Eccles finishes this thing. This was a huge stack in the game, gets the ball back to the offense. But this is one of the things I highlighted because we always talked about how good of a blitzer Mike Hilton was. Eccles is a pretty good blitzer too. I think he's timed a couple of them up that I saw when I was going through some things in this highlight package. He's timing them up really well. He's not giving it away too early. This was just one of those plays that I really, really liked from how I saw him go about this. So,
yeah, that's one thing I wish we would do a little more of, especially against a team like, Miami, because you could catch A-Chain as much as they run the ball and they like to run, although they ran more in the tackles than I thought. But they do like to run the ball wide, and especially maybe with that jet sweep that they like to run with Waddle and Malik Washington. Boy, if Eccles or even Ramsey was coming in off the edge and timed that right, that could be a huge loss.
Yep. So this is going to be the Bills game here. The Bills are in 11 personnel. Eccles is in the slot at the bottom of the screen. You see PQ showing blitz. And I think this is a key right here. So when you see PQ come up here in the middle of the screen, Josh Allen thinks that Patrick Queen is coming on this one. And as a quarterback, you're always taught to throw into the blitz side. Now, Eccles on the bottom of the screen with Khalil Shakir, that is their quick, shifty guy that they want to win routes early. What they think is going to happen here is with Patrick Queen blitzing and they're spread out, this is a man-to-man coverage, and that Eccles is going to follow Shakir up the field. So this is a really high Q play because watch, Queen drops, Allen throws that way, and Eccles immediately drops Shakir, reading the quarterback out of this, which is something that I thought he's done really, really well. He keeps his eyes back to the quarterback out of these zone coverages, and he just jumps the route here. And instead of this being a completion, it ends up being an interception. I just thought the way that he did not travel with this, and this is actually where you see Josh Allen start calling out Patrick Queen and saying, like, as soon as he sees this, this is where he starts checking. He's checking protection to make sure if Patrick Queen is coming, that he's covered, but then he's going to throw into it behind it. And he thinks right there, he thought Eccles was following Shakir upfield, and he just drops off of his man, lets Patrick Queen pick him up, jumps the route. That's just reading the quarterback and playing with really good instincts. So he's obviously in a zone in this. That fooled Josh Allen, which doesn't happen often in veteran quarterbacks like this, but I thought the way that Eccles played, and he will do this again later on too, just so you guys know. This is not a one-off. He's got crazy good IQ. I really like him. Mm-hmm. So this is one that I think right here, if you pause this real quick, Bob, he's playing with a lot of confidence. And if you watch the way that he does this, this is another one in the Bills game where Shakir is coming in motion. They're at the top of the screen. He and James Pierre are the two corners at the top. He called off Pierre to make sure Pierre stays outside and takes whichever release goes to the outside. He sees.
Oh, we lost your audio there, Trent. I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Trent's having technical difficulties. So we'll freeze it right here for a second. He just froze up completely. Still frozen. Still frozen. Uh-oh. Lost your... I can't hear you. So, okay. So while he's gone, let's talk a little bit about this. From the perspective, Trent's going to pick up where he left off here in a second. But going back to the Omar Khan of this all, I know some people thought in training camp, well, Eccles is going to be the odd man out. And I was saying that there's no way they sign this guy to a free agent contract and they're going to cut him. And it's really turned out to be a phenomenal move. I mean, nobody had that James Pierre and Brandon Echols were going to be corner one and corner two, basically, although Echols is really, he's still the slot corner. Joey's number two. But I mean, at this point, Pierre's number one. So it's going to be interesting when he doesn't play on Monday. It looks like he's out. So we'll have Joey probably on Waddle, which I think is actually a pretty good matchup. Joey's got size on him. He can bother him at the line a little bit. He can get burned. So I mean, if they do decide to open it up, which Miami has not opened up the field or opened up the passing game with Tua. 4 games in a row, he's had less than 25 attempts. I think his high in that stretch is 23. So I don't think that Joey's going to get exposed. And especially in the cold, I think they're going to try to run A-chain as much as humanly possible. And we'll get to that here in a little while when Trent rejoins us, as far as, as far as some of the keys to stopping Miami's run game. But yeah, I think this just illustrates the point of how good a job Omar has done and is doing in restocking a very depleted roster. I know we give him a lot of grief for not necessarily getting a wide receiver and other things, but he has found a lot of pieces.
All right.
They're not all pros. Okay, Trent's back.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay. I think, listen, we got like a foot of snow last night, and this time it's not the fact that I didn't reset things. I think this time it's because the lines are buried under the ground, so I had trouble last night too. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. So on this play, I'm going to try to pick back up where I left off a little bit here. I thought it was important. I don't know how much of what you guys heard and what you didn't, but it was important the way that he communicated with Pierre to make sure that he takes the outside release on this play. And then the way he had patience to just sit on the route, I thought was key in this one, because Shakir is a very shifty guy. He could have flipped the hips and went to the outside. He didn't do that. He just sat patiently waiting for Shakir to make his movement, sat on the route, jumps it on the inside, and gets a PBU off of that. So I thought that was a really, really nice play. And it just shows a guy who's playing with a ton of confidence right now as well.
Absolutely.
This one here, 4 wide set. Essentially on this one, because they kind of end up splitting out the tight end on this. He's at the top of the screen on this play here. So he's actually going to be one-on-one with no, this is the blitz package. My fault. So he comes off a blitz. Again, this is another well-timed blitz. Daniel Jones does get the ball off, but he clearly did not know he was coming pre-snap. There's nowhere to go with that football. He's just trying to get rid of it and force something into Josh Downs in this play. But the way that Echols, I thought, if you could rewind that back, the way that he comes off the edge and times this thing out, the guard doesn't realize he's coming. Daniel Jones doesn't realize he's coming. Just watch the reactions on this, because we didn't bring anybody. And the guard just shifts over to pick up, I think this is Y.A. Black or Derek Harmon on this one. But Echols timed it up so well that no one saw him coming. So he is an underrated blitzer, in my opinion. I think he does a great job. And this is a forced throw. There was nowhere to go with this ball by the time he's getting to Daniel Jones. He's just trying to get rid of it and not take a sack. And
Alex made a nice tip ball there, because even though he got it off, if Alex doesn't tip that ball, that's a 7-yard completion.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
This is going to be the other angle of that blitz play right here. It was Derek Harmon. So Derek Harmon's in the middle. You'll see they shift here. The guard comes over to pick up Harmon on this play, and it just helps open up Echols. And if he doesn't time this right, the guard sees him coming. But he times it up perfectly. The guard has no clue he's coming. Harmon comes that direction to try to hold the guard so that he doesn't come off to go to Echols. I just thought this was well timed. I believe it was well played by Harmon to make sure he keeps both guys, and then great timing by Echols to come at the right time and make sure he gets home.
And this is frankly something, not just the blitz, but the Steelers need to see more of, is Derek Harmon eating 2 blocks, Cam Hayward eating 2 blocks. That makes it, even if you're chipping TJ, he's still a chip and a one-on-one, and whoever's on the other side on the edge. Now this time they dropped Alex, but you've got one-on-one for your edges, because you can't chip both of them. And if you do, then okay, great. You want to put 3 guys in the pattern? Okay, well, I'll take those odds.
Yep.
This is, and with Derek Carmen being back, we'll definitely see more of this. But, Benton is more of that swim, get in, get through. And YA has been inconsistent. I still love him. I still think he's going to be a star in the league. But, yeah, this is what we need to – when YA and Benton are here, we need to see more of this from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that was a great play by Alex in coverage. So here he's on the bottom of the screen. This is one-on-one with Michael Pittman. So Pittman is obviously their primary target down there in Indy. He's their best receiver. And this is a true one-on-one man-to-man coverage. And you see Pittman sets this up because Echols on outside leverage in this play. He sets it up. He gets a little bit of separation early, but Echols just stays with you. He does not come unglued very easily. And he makes a great play. This ball could have been just a little bit more out in front, but I think because of the coverage being so tight, it makes a quarterback nervous, and he's going to try to go to Pittman because Pittman's his security blanket here, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job, and like you said, he's playing with such confidence, and, that's not a great matchup for him. He's given a lot of size to Pittman in that one-on-one.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm telling you what, he's just been fantastic in coverage this year. I think he's better than Jalen Ramsey was in the slot. I don't think it's close anymore.
Yeah, Ramsey has transitioned so much into the safety. I think in a pinch he could still play there and play high level. I think also part of the problem was Ramsey was billed as we're going to make him the slot corner, and then they started putting him one-on-one against the best receivers, and he did okay. But he's so much better at safety. He's changed the defense. Yep.
And the way Echols is able to play man-to-man against so many different variations of receivers right now, it's unlocked the ability to play more man with Joey Porter Jr. and the way Pierre has been playing as well. It's kind of given us something in the secondary we haven't had in a long time. There's a lot of stability in that secondary. Now, I think Duger's back this week, which is another big piece too.
Yes, it will definitely help. All right, so let's switch over to the offense against the Miami defense.
All right, so this is going to be the Jets game last week. The Jets are in a trips look at the top of the screen. They're completely spread formation. I think we need to start seeing some more spread formation because I really think that there is the linebackers are pretty slow for Miami. So I liked how they bring the bottom receiver in motion here, and you can see him right in the middle of the field. I can't remember if this is where Tyrod had already come out or if Cook was in there in this play, but this should have been such an easy pitch and catch completion, and he throws it way behind the receiver. But the receiver was open for about 10 yards before he even gets rid of the ball and gets it to him. So, that was a clear miss, in my opinion, but great concept the way that they did this. I really like how they ran this play. And we need to see more crossing routes. See him just come in motion. Yeah. The linebacker freezes in the middle of the screen. Nobody picks this guy up.
You hit DK. Yeah, you hit DK on the hash right here, and that's gone. He's gone. That's a touchdown.
Yeah, because they're linebackers. I think they're decent sized guys, but they don't run well from what I've seen on the film. They're not good in coverage. This should have been the easiest completion of the day for the quarterback. And even if this ball doesn't get completed, if you actually look at the receiver at the top of the screen, Minkah bites down on the other guy running a post route here. The backside receiver is open for a touchdown, and he missed him too. Look at
that. It's almost, and honestly, even when he throws this ball, this is way too late. You want to complete that ball. If you complete that on the far hash as he's going in that crossing route, he doesn't need to carry to the sideline now. He can turn right upfield and look. He's got 15 yards before he has to beat somebody. And with DK one-on-one down there with a safety, I like him to run over him or just run by him. Especially Minkah. I don't think as well as Minkah has played for Miami. Let's be honest, though, they're not a great defense. He's kind of the tallest dwarf down there. But as well as they've played, this is still a bad matchup for Minkah if he catches DK in the middle of the field.
Yeah. And I'll say this, the Jets were running a lot of tight formations leading up to this, and they didn't spread them out until they were already down 14-0, which I thought was a huge mistake by them because they started moving the ball once they went down 14-0. So this play here, the Jets are going to be in a trips look at the top of the screen. Complete spread formation. This is what I want to see, weather dependent. I think if we spread this Miami defense out, that's where they can have a little bit of success in this. They bring the tight end in motion. And I think he was supposed to be getting a wham block on this, but they kind of slanted up to the top side of the screen there. So he ends up hitting Bradley Chubb on the bottom. So you'll see Chubb's lined up as the edge defender on this one. You see the tight end come in motion. And he's looking for somebody. Chubb's just the only guy available. So instead of a wham block, he ends up hitting Chubb on this play. Kind of lets Breece Hall give a little bit of running room. He gets upfield. Nice little 7-8 yard gain on this. I thought that was a nice play, but it came out of spread formation. So here again, Jets are going to spread out the Dolphins in 11 personnel. They run a motion and return the motion man back up to gauge the coverage. I can see this is a zone coverage. They do a delayed draw on this. And again, delayed draw out of the spread formation. Miami's linebackers are not fast enough to come up and collect this quickly. You can see him start getting depth. I thought there was good patience on this one. And Breece Hall, he's got speed. This is another thing. He and Jalen Warren, speed-wise, are very similar. You can see Jalen breaking this thing off really easily, too. So I love how they spread out the Dolphins' defense in this one, and that really helped them, I thought, in this. So, again, spread formation. I think this is such a key. They motion to the top of the screen, throw a wide receiver screen right here, and the linemen do a really great job of getting out and leading this thing, getting about a 9-10 yard gain. I can't remember where they spotted the ball at the end of this, but again, it's just the Dolphins defense is slow. For everything that they build their offense around with speed, the defense did not get the memo because they are not fast. They just are a slow reacting team, slow speed team. They do not have a Patrick Queen. They do not have a Peyton Wilson at linebacker to kind of cover ground in this. And I thought this was just a really, really good job of the Jets going up, spreading out, and starting to gain ground on that Miami defense. Because they're a better a better pass defense than I thought they were, but not once they're spread out and you start, running some motions and getting some crossers and just making them run.
Now,
they like sitting in zones.
Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers have never met a wide receiver screen they didn't like. Do you feel like they would be too keyed on DK, and maybe if Roman does get a hat because Calvin Austin can't go, that this is something where Roman Wilson could have an impact on the game? Because I don't think you're going to want to throw those kind of plays to Adam Thielen.
No, not Adam Thielen, but even if you get MVS running some of the crossers where he's got speed, even at his age, he still has the speed. He could pick those up. Roman Wilson, I've always thought if you get that kid in motion, like that first play we showed where the top receiver comes in motion and then cuts across the middle of the field. I mean, that is exactly what Roman Wilson did in college. That's where he had all of his success with those, or just the outright go balls, the deep shots. Mm-hmm. So that would be something that you could utilize here. You could probably utilize that with MVS. Adam Thielen's a little slow. He would find the spots in the zones. I actually think Thielen could be somewhat effective in this game, more than a one catch for 4 yard type of day, because they sit in so much zone that he, being a veteran and the guy that he is, I think he gets open a lot in zone.
I've heard the name of a zone buster. This guy, I forget his name. He used to play tight end at Penn State. He was pretty good. Maybe we'll see him in this game.
The only zone buster that we don't use against zone coverage. Yeah. Good old Muth.
You would hope Muth gets on the field today and that the Jonnu Smith experiment is officially over, heading for the playoffs.
I've quit even talking about Muth being involved in the offense at this point because I've completely given up. I've completely given up on calling for Muth because we don't use him. I don't understand it.
And if you watched Friday night, the one thing, and now that we talked earlier about Darnell being in this game, I want to see Darnell catch the ball 5 to 7 yards in the middle of the field and Minka come try to lay the wood and Darnell just obliterate him. Mm-hmm. Because Kyle Hamilton kind of got him on a cheap shot with that concussion. He was already down, and he kind of slammed him into the ground.
Yeah.
I don't think Minka's got the. I shouldn't say it. Minka's got the guts to do it. I don't think he's got the ability to do it.
I don't think there's a defensive back in the league that wants to see this guy out in space. It's just nobody wants that.
Yep.
So right here, I'm going to set this play up for a second. If you could pause it. So the Jets are coming out of 11 personnel, 2 receivers at the top of the screen. So the guy I want you to focus on right here is actually the slot receiver. He runs a post route on this play that you can see the Dolphins in cover 2. Again, for some reason, we talked about this for weeks, that we can't beat cover 2 coverage. There's no way you can throw against it. Well, look at the freaking openings in the middle of the field. They're showing some respect to the receivers at the bottom of the screen and the top of the screen. The safeties are playing out wide in this. Cook forces a ball. This ends up being an interception. But watch the slot at the top of the screen. This is a linebacker. Again, these guys cannot run. Cook's just completely locked into the bottom of the screen. Right here, he's already got the linebacker beat right from here. That linebacker is not going to catch up. You can see Minka's frozen because of the receiver at the bottom of the screen. He doesn't have the range to cover back to the middle of that field. And then if you go right there, look at this. Here at the 10-yard line, he is wide open for a touchdown because that linebacker is going to do nothing but keep fading. Minka just does not come to the middle of the field. Nobody drifts. And I know the quarterback's not looking to the middle, but Aaron Rodgers, being who he is, he knows how to hold that safety and then come back to the middle. This should have been a touchdown. Cook forces this ball. It's underthrown. It ends up more or less being into a double coverage type situation. Easy interception for the Dolphins. Ends up being a turnover just outside of the red zone. But I think if that's Aaron Rodgers in that case, you have a seam shot right up the middle between the cover 2 safeties, and that's an easy pitch and catch touchdown for him against these linebackers. So, again, I keep pointing this out. Spreading this defense out and making these linebackers run is going to be something that I think we should do, because I think that's an easy way to open up the pass game. Even though they're good against the pass, that will open their run game up as well. So that's one of my big keys.
And I have to think that because of how bad he looked in the Sunday night game, and you could tell almost from the moment he stepped on the field, Rodgers wasn't comfortable. I don't know if it was the night game. I don't know what it was, but he just looked out of sorts from the beginning. And I'm hoping that with, the fact that he's got the broken wrist that's got to occupy his concentration, and maybe he's a little more focused for the night game, because we're going to need him. We're going to need him for this game.
For sure. Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk a little defense.
Oh my God. I love it.
Just in case Dave joined late, we had to put another con in there with Hall of Fame Herbig.
All right, so I'm going to be completely upfront with you guys. I have no fucking clue what you call this set. I have no clue what you call this. It's basically like a variation of the diamond formation that they used to run in college, where teams that run a lot of triple option line up this way, except you have 2 running backs flanking 2 on this play, with A-Chain being the deep back. They do this quite a bit, and it is very successful most of the time. So you have 2 H-backs. They're out of the pistol set here. They get an end around in this case to Waddle. So if you watch Waddle, he's at the bottom of the screen. It's not in motion. They just immediately off the snap go, and you can see misdirection. This is going to be a key. You got a lineman pulling over to the bottom of the screen. You have the fullback who's going to come down towards the bottom, or I think that might have been Ollie Gordon on that situation, coming down to the bottom of the screen as well. He circles back. Now, do you see how he and A-Chain start circling back and heading up to the top of the screen here? That ends up being a key to the success of this play right here. Then Waddle gets the ball on this little toss from Tua, and you end up with A-Chain and Engold out leading the way. You get a good block right there on the corner. Here comes your fullback leading the way up toward the safety. And Waddle with that speed does not need much separation. This ends up going for about 28 yards.
It almost looks like the old a reverse power T.
Yeah. It's just the way that they do these things here and the misdirections, and they get the linebackers. Look at the linebackers. Not one of them has moved. They have no clue where to go. All three in the middle of the screen right here. And then also something that you see in this Dolphins team too. Look at the two linemen all the way downfield here blocking out in front. You've got the center who's all the way out here pulling Corey Brewer. Brewer is a key to this Miami Dolphins game plan in just about every aspect. He's out leading the way blocking. Then here's where Engel gets his block. You've got the two guys at the top of the screen sealing a guy deep. This just sets up so well, and they are an extremely athletic offensive line. Extremely athletic, which makes the whole thing with McDaniel work. So on the next one, the Dolphins are going to be in a 21 personnel. They bring the tight end in motion. They do run a lot of big sets on this. A-Chain follows his blocks and then explodes through the hole. This was almost the next play. And then if there's some really piss poor tackling on this one by the Jets. But it was a big play no matter how you looked at it. And A-Chain, he's not a power back by any means. He's a speed back. But I think he does play with some really nice patience. And you can see the way he sets up his blocks on the second look here. He's just reading all these guys. You see a nice seal by the tackle here. He gets his guy crashing in on the edge. Angled again, man, he's a big piece of their run game. Gets a real nice block on the linebacker here, blows him completely up. And A-Chain's like, he's got a massive gap to run through here. And then it's all about just trying to corral this guy in open space. Obviously, nice spin move, makes the defender look completely terrible. Probably not the greatest breakdown to make a tackle, but that is what it is. And then he gets out here, and this is what the Steelers like to do. They punched that ball. See, both guys went for the ball, and then they both fell off, and A-Chain just keeps running. We do that a lot. We don't need to do that in this case. Get this guy to the ground.
Mm-hmm. And
ends up being a monster run.
For a small slight back, he can fumble, but he's not fumble prone. So that punch at the ball, especially with TJ's great at it. I don't want to see Alex and Herbig doing that.
Yeah, the key to A-Chain is just get him to the ground. He's not the guy that you want to play around with, trying to create turnovers with. Tua's the guy that you can try to get turnovers with. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But A-Chain, you just got to get this guy to the ground because he is so dangerous. Mm-hmm. So, again, this one's where the Dolphins motion into the 21 personnel. They always line Ingold up in this, like, wingback set, and they'll motion him around, and he will counter. Like, did you see how he kind of counters both ways? But ends up being a nice little rollout. Again, misdirection. Tight end gets lost in coverage. He's wide open. There's nobody out there because of the motions, because of the misdirections that they run. Ingold, watch him come back in here. The way he motions in, look at the Jets react to that. You bring a safety down, linebacker shift, the other safety drops deep into coverage, and there is nobody out here. There's just nobody out here. This is going to be a huge, huge key for Pittsburgh's defense is to stay sound in your location of where you should be. Do not over pursue. Both linebackers dove way, way over to the right side of the screen there. Leaves the tight end wide open. McDaniels does this a lot. I saw this play in, I think, 4 games that I watched of them. So it's something he likes to do. He wants to get you looking one way and go the other way. Misdirection is a huge piece to their offense. Another big gain. I mean, they were taking chunks in this game, to be honest with you. So in this one, they're actually going to come out in 22 personnel this time with Waddle one-on-one down at the bottom of the screen. The Jets are in a zone. The DBs do not do a good job of passing him off in this zone. This is a deep crosser. Tua has all day to throw this football. And on the second look, you'll see the protection. But you can just see this is a heavy, heavy look where the corner does not pass this off to the safety. Well, the safety does not come up and get it very well. And you see the tight end in the screen right here. That's Waller. Waller is a very good pass-catching tight end. You can see he draws a little bit of attention, and Tua just has nobody anywhere near him. And so if the safety jumps this route, I think this is where Jalen Ramsey, being newer safety, or even now Duggar, if he's going to be back playing in that deep role, one of those guys have to jump this route a lot sooner, understanding that the corner can play the deep middle part of the field if he's releasing that receiver across the middle, because there was nobody else on the backside on this play.
This is really, and the Steelers may have an advantage here with the safeties like you're talking about, because Duggar has seen Tua a lot with the Patriots, and Jalen played with him. So you would think if any two safeties in the NFL would be inclined to jump this route, it's going to be our safeties.
Yeah, that is a good call. I didn't even think about Ramsey being with him and then Duggar playing against him as many times as he did. So definitely a good call out on that one, Bob. But the other thing is, like, Tua, if you saw how clean that pocket was, like, that's when Tua's at his best. When you get some pressure in his face, that's when Tua starts to fall apart. He's got 14 interceptions this year. And that's a huge number for a quarterback in an offense that should be explosive. He will give you the ball back. So, again, like, it's going to be a big piece. We'll go into some keys to the game in a minute, but Tua definitely will give you the ball. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, and this is where, and not that he was playing great football, but this is where Tyreek Hill is really missed. He needs that second option guy, because if you go out and just take Waddle away, the rest of the weapons, except for A-Chain, don't scare you.
Right.
But, I mean, and I'm surprised Waddle has had it. It kind of speaks to how good. There's a reason he's getting paid $30 million, obviously. Look, he's not just Robin. He's not just a second receiver. He's ready to be a number one. He's showing he can be a number one. And, Miami's kind of in our situation, because you can't believe they're going to bring back Tyreek Hill at this point. So they have got to go get a wide receiver too, because Malik Washington ain't it.
Yeah. Yep. So on this play, you can see that Engold's starting as the wing back. They motion him back to be basically a 21 personnel look. And this is that counter action that I talked about with him. The way he motions, and they will counter him back to lead. And then I'm telling you, that dude's just a phenomenal blocker. Just opens this thing up, and A-Chain in space is just a problem, because look at that. That most guys, that could have been a 10-yard carry, but the way he just is able to explode and accelerate through the hole.
This is not a giant hole here.
Watch the lineman. Watch the lineman out here climbing up in front too. Again, it's Brewer leading the way as the center. They will pull everybody on the offensive line 1 through 5, and they all get out in space really well. They all seal blocks very well. If you let Corey Brewer get to Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson and Malik Harrison, if he's playing, it's a problem. It is a real problem, because when he latches on, you're done. I mean, look at, he's tossing this dude clear out of the fucking club right now.
Yeah, and if we thought James Cook was a problem in open space, James Cook is great and one of the maybe top 10 running backs, but in space, I don't know that there's anybody in the league who's better than A-Chain once he gets a step.
No, he's really, really dangerous. I mean, look at the wide receivers even giving effort downfield. I think that was Malik Washington. I mean, they all know once this dude's got the hands on the ball, you just don't give up, because he can go the distance. You don't ever, until you hear a whistle, A-Chain's not down. So, Dolphins run game can be a problem for sure.
Yeah. And it is it's gonna be scary.
He's explosive.
I just want everybody to know I put together how will the defense be able to attack the run game to stop tackle? So it's a good question. I mean, what I want to see, and Trent can go much more into this, but we talked about this in prep. I think it is important, and with Derek Harmon, YA, Benton, Cam all playing, the defensive line has got to be bullies against this offensive line that's very athletic. They have got to put them on their ass coming off the field. Because if you let these guys do what they do, I don't love Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson, trying to fight off these blocks.
I don't either. I think this is going to be, I said it in prep, this could be a rough Patrick Queen game. So the biggest key to this, because Brewer sets up so much of their rushing attack, the way that he climbs to the second level to get to these linebackers. If you don't know, Brewer's the center. I don't know when you joined us. So he's the key to make this whole thing go. He's kind of the cog piece that makes the machine move, gets the wheels turning. and allows them to do what they want to do. Engold is another big part of that as the fullback. They're actually one of the few teams in the league that run a fullback still. But I think the key is going to be, like Bob said, you need Derek Harmon, you need Cam Hayward, you need Keanu Benton, and you need Black to be in there, and they need to command some double team stuff. So the things that the Bills did really, really well against us is they ran a lot of duo. Now, the Dolphins like to pull a lot. They don't run a ton of duo from what I saw. They're more active offensive line, trying to get out in space, climb to the next level, stretch the field in the run game. So instead of the way that we saw James Cook press the middle and then bounce outside, they're just trying to get straight to the outside. So I think that the gap integrity from the defensive line's perspective and trying to hold guys like Brewer from climbing to the next level is going to be a key piece to this, because if you take him out of their run game, it's going to limit the explosive plays for A-Chain. So I think the number one thing is try to command double teams and win up front early from those interior guys. And that would allow Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson to play with speed, to get out on the edges and shut some of these big stretch runs that they like to do down. So I think that's going to be a key piece in this game. So I would watch the center Brewer in this game. If I know we're Steeler fans here, but if you keep your eye on Brewer, if he's being held up at the line of scrimmage, that is a big piece to us shutting down the run game. If he gets out in space, he latches on and he locks on to linebackers and does not let go. He buries them more often than not.
Yeah, and Vaughn pointed out earlier, and sorry guys, my comments aren't loading on my screen right now, but I just opened up the YouTube session so I could see them. Vaughn brings up how big of a loss Pierre is going to be for the defense. And also that, like you were pointing out, wish we would run out of the spread. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, do we see some 11 personnel with Adam Thielen, DK, and Mark and Scantling? We saw a little bit of it at the end of the Ravens game. I just felt like Aaron rushed that throw on third down to Scantling. I think he comes up short of the screen anyway, or short of the sticks anyway, even if he catches it. But I think Darnell is a huge key. You got to have him in the game. You just got to have him in the game.
Mm-hmm. I listen, I highlighted all the 11 personnel stuff from the Jets for a reason. If the weather permits it, I would spread out this Miami defense because they play a ton of zone. They're pretty stout up front. They're pretty big and stout up front, but they're not a good run defense. They give up they're 29th in, I think, yards per carry, and I think 28th in total yards allowed in the rush game. But so theoretically, you would think, okay, this should favor our jumbo packages, but they are pretty big up front. And if you run jumbo packages, they could bring Kenneth Grant off the bench at 335 pounds to go along with another 335-pound interior defensive lineman and another 309-pound defensive lineman. Like, they're pretty big. So, I think the more that you're able to spread this team out and you're able to play with speed instead of trying to overpower them at times, I think that could jump off the page for us in a quick way and maybe get a quick strike on the first drive. And that's a way we could really kind of get them on their heels. And then maybe they try to adjust to that. And if we can make them adjust, it takes them completely out of their game plan. And that's where we can start to be more effective and establish some run games. So I think we got to spread them out. I would come out throwing in this game, to be perfectly honest with you. Again, they're 12th against the pass. Sounds stupid, but they're slow. And we have the speed to win. DK is fast. MVS is fast. If Roman Wilson plays, he's fast. Jalen's fast. Kenneth Gainwell is fast. We have speed guys that we can get in advantageous situations. So I would spread this team out, and I think you'll be more effective in the run game as you spread them out as well. So I think that is a key from my perspective. I think that's how you attack them.
Absolutely. Well, I put together, it's not quite as long as Trent's, but I put together a quick highlight package of what is the most important key to this game. So let me go ahead and play it.
I'm Mr. Icicle. I'm Mr. 10 Below. Friends call me Snow Miser. Whatever I touch turns to snow in my clutch. I'm too much.
As we said on the podcast on Friday night, Miami's getting credit for a win against the Jets in below 40-degree weather, but it was above 40 when the game started. It did fall pretty quickly. But bottom line is 18 degrees, possible snow. It's snowing all weekend. This is just ripe for never say never, but Miami does not do well historically when they travel north in the teens. And Pittsburgh hasn't lost a game on Monday night since 1991 at home. So there's a lot going in our favor. Never say never, especially when Mike Tomlin is involved. But there's a lot of good stuff going for us in this game. But we do have to maximize, and we can't just roll out there and just expect, hey, it's cold, they're not going to play well. We have to follow these keys that Trent has pointed out.
Yeah. If there's a lot of snow, it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing plays out, because I think that it will eliminate a lot of the stuff that Miami wants to do, because once obviously there's snow on the ground, I think it becomes an issue of a lot of their misdirection and things that they like to do. Footing becomes an issue in that, and you have to eliminate some of those things. You're wanting to go more downhill in the snow, which kind of favors us in a lot of ways. So it'll be interesting if that does play a factor. But I think I have 3 keys to the game, and I'm just going to kind of read them off here. So key number 1 is just keep A-Chain between the tackles. Once he gets outside, it's a big issue. If you can keep him contained on the edges, and that's going to come down to Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig. The corners have to step up in this game and play big. You have to stop A-Chain first. He is the catalyst to opening up the rest of their offense. They are really a run-first team at this point. He's got a ton of speed. He's not a very powerful guy. I think that's going to be key number 1. Stop the run. If we keep them under 100 yards, that's going to be massive in this game. And with Derek Carman playing, opposing teams are only averaging 94 yards rushing against us. So hopefully that keeps going. Yes, hopefully he keeps that trend going for us. Key number 2 I have, stay composed through all of the motions. Because they run so much motion and so much misdirection and so much counteraction, and they run so many pulling linemen, stay composed and stay inside your integrity and your gap integrity, and make sure that you're just reading, diagnosing, and then playing fast. I think that's going to be a big key. Make Tua hold the ball so the pass rush can get home. He's actually right there with Aaron Rodgers as far as getting rid of the ball quickly. He's been getting rid of the ball very, very quickly this season. He's only averaging 6 yards of average depth per target this year. So he is not taking the shots downfield the way that he used to. So I think if you stay composed through the motions and all the misdirection stuff, and you just read and diagnose the play as it is, that's going to help us in shutting down their offense. And then the third thing, I think the offense needs to get out to another fast start against this Dolphins team. So similar to what we did against Baltimore last week, we obviously come out taking the deep shot to DK Metcalf. I would come out throwing in this again. I would really honestly keep coming out throwing, keep this Dolphins team off balance. And I think if you demoralize their defense quickly, it can really become a problem for them as the game wears on too. So I do think that their team can fold pretty easily against good teams. So good teams might be a relative term for us right now. We're first in the divisions, but
and remember that game that did beat Buffalo, they got out to such a huge lead that, Buffalo kind of was flat. All of a sudden you go, a quarter and a half in, you're down 17-0 Buffalo, and they just never really got on track in that game. So I don't think you can go down to Miami, because playing from behind against those guys as they get confidence is not a good thing.
No, it's not. I told you in prep, and I honestly think this is the biggest. The first 2 possessions by each team could really dictate the terms of this game. If we get off the field and do not surrender points against Miami, because they will kind of unload the kitchen sink at you offensively, just to get up ahead of you quick. And then offensively, if we come out firing, same as what Steelers Blitz is throwing out here right now, I think that is the keys. If you come out offensively strong, you come out defensively strong, you could set the tone for the rest of this game. And then as the date wears on, and you're getting further into the night, that cold weather sits in, and Tua does not play well in the cold. That's another one of these like things you hope the trend continues. But I really, really think that getting out ahead early on both sides of the ball is going to be a massive piece of this game.
And I think throwing deep is not they do play a lot of cover two, so the cover two hole is going to be there on the sideline. But where you highlighted that post where Aaron versus Cook, we'll see that. You get Thielen, you get Darnell, you get MVS. Although I'd be nervous with MVS because he does have a drop issue.
He does.
But you get Thielen in that, running where he's on a linebacker and he cuts that post in. Aaron is going to deliver that ball 10 out of 10 times. He can see that a linebacker is playing my slot. And especially if Minka goes wide to defend DK, I mean, you catch, let's be honest, you catch Roman Wilson in that post and he holds onto the ball, that's a touchdown because they're not going to be able to catch him.
Yep.
We'll have to change our offense because Cook is playing. Is Pete officially out? Miami's pass rush is not daunting. You might have to have a little chip, a little help for him just to see, but Bradley Chubb is not who Bradley Chubb was 5 years ago. I mean, they're not. Judon can be a problem, but he's not having a great year either. I'm not overly scared of the pass rush.
Chubb leads their team in sacks. I'm trying to find the number here. I know he leads their team in sacks, but I think it's 6.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6.5. Yep. You guys found it. So he's still a good player, but we were watching the Washington game before we got on here, and I was like, he's not on the field as much as like our edge rushers are at 33. They're taking him off the field a good bit. So I think that I don't think we have to change anything offensively, to be perfectly honest with you. Outside of me hoping that we run more 11 personnel and spread them out, I just think their defense is slow. And I want to exploit that. And I love the call out of putting Adam Thielen in that slot role, because if you have MVS and DK streaking downfield like we showed on that post route, Thielen can still win that post route. He was winning that same post route against the Ravens when the ball got deflected that Aaron ended up catching his own pass. He won the same. It was the same route concept, exactly the same route concept as what we showed with the Jets. That's why I highlighted that, is because it's in our bag already. We tried to run it last week. I think we need to go back to it again, because they will sit in a lot of cover two zones, and they do take the underneath stuff away a lot unless you start bringing more crossing route stuff, not just sitting on the 6-yard curl routes or these short passing game things we like to do, the 5-yard out routes crap. Like, cover two set up to cover up the underneath stuff, and they're not afraid of letting Minka and Davis try to take away the top end stuff. But I think they can be had there. I do. I think they can be had there. Yeah.
And Jens, I see you in the chat. My comments aren't working in StreamYard, but hey, thanks for joining.
Sorry. Here, I'll throw it up, Bob.
Yeah, no problem. And Sid actually brings up an interesting point. I do think Gainwell is a key in this game, because he is kind of our, that little dump off guy, although I do want to see it more in wide receivers. But KJ, I'd rather see Jalen on the outside than KJ. But does Caleb Johnson get a role here? I mean, I still think it's way too telegraphed when he comes into the game. We aren't giving the kid much of a chance.
Yeah.
But I don't know that this is the game where I like him as a one cut back across the defense kind of guy. In college, I don't remember him running a lot of outside runs. Do you, Trent?
No, not. I mean, he was more between the tackles. They didn't really run a lot of stretch plays with him in college. He was more of a between the tackles kind of guy. When he plants his foot and he gets upfield, he can get some top end speed, but he's very. Listen, he should be running between the tackles. If we have a snow game, give me KJ on the field instead of Gainwell, because he can pound that thing out and he can help us out in those type of situations. But if it's not a snow game, I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face, because I've said it a couple different weeks now. I think we need to run the ball out of 11 personnel, spread them out, run the ball, let Jalen Warren with his speed and his shiftiness and his ability to break tackles. I want him out in space. You can run it up the middle with him, but just get him one-on-one in situations with linebackers. And that's how you do that, is out of spread. We're allowing defenses to run too heavy in the box against him, which is why he's struggling to get going. We loved the jumbo package when it happened, but you know what? Teams have adjusted to it at this point, and we can't keep running the same things over and over. So get in the spread. Aaron likes the spread, let's be honest, and you can run play action off of that and keep those linebackers honest. That's where you slip guys behind the linebackers. Maybe Pat Freiermuth does have a role in this game. I would love to see him have a big role in this one. But, like you mentioned, Adam Thielen out of the slot, or run MVS in a post out of the slot, because he's got the speed to really split the secondary pretty easily. And the difference between Thielen and MVS out of the slot could be a touchdown. You need another receiver on the backside who's going to help hold the safety. So that's going to be the interesting piece.
What I would love
is Thielen that guy.
What I would love, Trent, is that concept is if you do put MVS in the slot and run that, and I mean, we've forgotten he existed, but if you had Pat as the tight end, not Darnell, and run a cross route underneath that post, because everybody's going to go with MVS. Everybody's going to go with him.
Yep.
Pat could have a 30, 40-yard completion because nobody is there. You just send, 2 streaks down the sideline, a post in the middle, and let Pat run that crosser. I mean, he could be wide open in the middle of the field. And I love Darnell. Probably my favorite Steeler, to be honest with you, at this point, at least on offense. You get Pat on the move, he can do some things. You get Darnell on the move, I mean, it's going to be awesome watching guys bounce off him, but let's face it, he's only going to get half of what Pat's going to get.
Yeah, for sure. I think the spread does make it easier to see, too. I think you're right, Vaughn. Mm-hmm. And then the previous comment, I do think McDaniel was definitely getting back to the run game. I mean, he's definitely been there. KJ definitely struggles out of the shotgun. But let's be honest, Iowa did not play out of the shotgun ever. I'd be surprised if that team had 50 snaps out of the shotgun his whole college career.
I think Navy threw the ball more yesterday than Iowa did KJ's senior season.
Yes.
Throwing 2 seam routes on cover 2 all games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's face it, is Adam Thielen as good as Roman Wilson at this point in his career? I mean, pure speed route, no, but like we kind of made the point last week with Roman Wilson, is he not getting half because he's open because he's running the wrong things and Aaron doesn't look for him because he's not where he's supposed to be? Maybe
you have to be on with something there. You've got to be onto something there, because I kept seeing him too open on film to not be getting the ball. I think you have to be right on that one. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah,
but that being said, I think that's all the more reason and God forbid we coach somebody. But that's all the more reason with coaching to go to Aaron and say, look, man, the kid can get open. I know he's not doing what he's supposed to do. Let's give him a crossing route. And no, maybe he won't cut it off like he's supposed to. But if you just wait a second, and it's hard to ask a quarterback to wait a beat, especially behind this offensive line. But just tell him, Aaron, if you'll just wait a beat, nobody thinks you're going to throw it to him. Necessary Roughness, one of my favorite movies, is don't throw it to Stone Hands. I mean, at this point, he's Stone Hands, and not that he drops the ball, but nobody's going to cover him because nobody thinks anybody's going to throw the ball to him.
No, not at all. I don't know. It'd be interesting because I think the thing is, if they do run a lot of zone, Aaron can pick apart a zone. Adam Thielen is very good against the zone. Pat Freiermuth is very good against the zone. If we can continue from last week to generate openings for DK Metcalf, man, you want the ball in his hands in space and let him work.
Especially against a cover, too. You get that ball to him crossing, like that one route you highlighted where it was so wide open on the crosser. Aaron is not going to wait until he gets to the sideline to hit him. If Aaron hits him on the seam and that's DK, that's a touchdown.
Yeah, you're definitely turning that into a big play for DK Metcalf. So it's going to be interesting to see, does the weather affect this game or not? If it's just cold, listen, Aaron, you pointed this out before. Aaron is very comfortable in the cold. We're not worried there as an offense. Tua, not comfortable in the cold. He's not comfortable in the snow. He wants no part of the elements at all. If there's just cold, I don't think Miami has to change their game plan up much. They can still run a lot of the same stuff that they ran. If it gets icy, snow, things like that, it's going to be interesting to see how they adjust to that. It takes away a lot of what they want to do.
Any truth to the rumor they ran Pitt out there for a practice yesterday to muck up Acrisure Stadium?
I don't know. Did you see that?
Yeah, Acrisure Stadium could be a pivotal point in this game because, let's face it, not always the best footing at Acrisure Stadium.
Yes. I didn't even hear that. That's hilarious, though. I hope it happened, just because.
But I think we both kind of agree this is a Boz game. We think Boz is going to be the difference in this game.
I do. I actually think Boz is going to end up being the winner-loss of this game, depending on how many chances we give him. Because he listen, dude's automatic. You just got to give him the chances.
Yeah,
feels like a field goal type of game if the weather plays into it. And our defense, we had this bend but don't break thing that worked against the Ravens. If we can contain A-Chain, if we make Tua heavily involved in this game, that's going to play in our favor in this thing. I think you just have to get the ball into his hands. He's going to give you the ball. We said the same thing a couple of different weeks this week, or since we started doing this, and it's worked both times we've said it. So hopefully that trend continues as well. There's a lot of trends working in our favor. I'm just a little worried about all of the motions and all of the misdirection that Miami runs. We have to play disciplined as a defense. This is where all the age on this defense could finally fucking play in our favor because they've already seen all this shit before. Outside of Harmon, Y.A. Black, everybody else on that defense has been there, done that. So hopefully they don't let it bother them too much.
All right. So before we get out of here, big game as far as the Steelers are concerned here today. Bengals and Ravens. Does Joe Burrow's red ass act this week, if they start slow, does he get booed at home?
Ooh. I don't know if he gets booed at home, but the team might get booed at home. Do you think that fan base is upset with that comment that he made?
I don't, because I think they're so long suffering, and as much as I really don't like the Bengals, they're so long suffering. I think they automatically blame ownership when they hear that.
Yeah,
I mean, let's face it, they did pay him $50 million a year pretty quickly. I really thought that was going to turn into a dispute, and it didn't. So,
yeah, and gave him both of his receivers back. Contracts. I think that organization may be as poorly ran as just about any organization in the league. I mean, hell, they sat and fought with their first round rookie draft pick for like 3 months over bullshit language in a contract that has never been put into a rookie contract before. So like, it's not like it's below this team to do stupid shit with their players, but at the same time, when you ask the team to pay this much money for your left tackle, who didn't work out, by the way, he's terrible, and then 2 receivers, well, you've eliminated the GM's ability to pay for anybody on defense, dude. What did you fucking think was going to happen? Like, there's only so much money to go around. You took the bulk share of it. You made them give it to Jamar Chase, and then you made them keep T. Higgins, and they signed Brown in free agency. What was that, 2 years ago? 3 years ago? 2 years ago. To a big contract as a left tackle. You put all your money into offense, bud. Like, what are they going to do? They have nothing to surround you with.
Well, and the T. Higgins thing still makes me wonder, because Yoshivas is capable. I think he's a number 2 wide receiver. He's playing as their number 3, but that kid's going to hit free agency. I would throw a contract at that guy. He is a good player. I mean,
who'd you say?
Yoshivas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good, competent. I mean, I would have gone with Chase, obviously, and kept Yoshivas and let T. Higgins go sign Trey Hendrickson and go get another defensive guy. I don't get it.
They're so screwed. I mean, they've missed on some picks on the defensive side of the ball, which doesn't help. It's really exacerbated this issue into becoming more of a thing than it should have been. But listen, that's part of the draft process. You miss on guys all the time. Not everybody's a mark on, Dave, you know? That's just kind of the way it goes. You don't hit on all these rookies. But I mean, like Shamar Stewart, he's very underperformed. DJ Turner, he's been so up and down. Jordan Battle at safety, they thought he was going to be the replacement. And when the two safeties walked, he's not been that guy. They've missed so much on their defensive prospects. Jermaine Pratt left. They lost. Who was the other linebacker they lost?
Logan Wilson, they traded.
Thank you, Logan Wilson. Yeah. It's like, I mean, come on. You've gutted your defense. Hendrickson hasn't been there for the last, 8 weeks. I mean, come on. What are we doing?
I will say they have found something with Miles Murphy, who I thought was really good coming out. It took him a little longer, but Dave just hit his mouth. When he watches this back, he'll be like, what, why all the shots?
Dave may skip the podcast next time.
All right. So anything we're looking for interesting today? I know you've got a bye this week for the fantasy playoffs. Anything last minute we're interested in watching in today's games?
No, I do hope the Bengals pull this thing out and they get a win against Baltimore, because that's going to make our path a little easier to seal up the division. The Bengals aren't technically mathematically eliminated from winning the division, but it's a pretty far stretch for them to get there. The Ravens, they're going to be right on our heels. So this is going to be a huge game this week, both for us and the Ravens. This could be a potential 2-game swing in our favor if we win. So that Ravens-Bengals game is going to be very, very intriguing.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's going to be a really interesting game. And for those of you who missed the other day, watch Shador have a big game today. And then Dave's head will explode live on Tuesday during the reaction. Along with Trent's, by the way.
Yes. Fucking Shador. All right. Thanks.
Yes. Thanks everybody for watching. Comments were great today. Sorry, I couldn't follow along. I'll look into what's going on with StreamYard. But we'll be back Tuesday night, hopefully to celebrate Victory Monday. And until then, go.
Well, take care, man. Gotta get back.
Sure. Take it easy, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I know that you will.
Yeah, well, the dude abides.
I don't know about you, but I take comfort in that.